really glad that we finally connected. We met physically in Budapest a couple of
Yes.
months ago, and it would be very good for us to tell us more about what you do, with what team you do this. I know that you are focused on commercial or mostly commercial segment, but not necessarily. What you are focusing is helping large real estate portfolios. You are helping with managing it quickly, swiftly, and help these management teams to go through these difficult times better. So
Yes.
today's challenge that we will speak with you about is how to make life of large real estate portfolios easier despite the difficult times they have to face. So
So Milan,
who
nice
you
to
are
see you
first,
again.
and then what you do, and how can you help them?
Yes, so I am Vlad, host. I represent SigTree Technologies. We are a startup from Romania. With previous experience in IT telecom, we've decided to move to and build a platform for real estate developers and asset managers. Just because were quite passionate of the vertical. We came in with not much experience, but I would say that in the past 5 years plus, we've learned a lot. And now we have a product that actually follows the tenant life cycle. It's an operational platform that helps asset managers, developers, landlords, property management teams to improve their operations and to reduce the number of hours that they put in to handle a large portfolio. So basically, you can do more with a smaller team just by using our platform in a nutshell.
You said that you don't have or you didn't have so much experiences, and you rounded it to 5 years, but you meant experiences with real estate.
In real estate, yes, we've been
Because I
working
know
in
that
IT
you
for
had,
many years.
yeah, very much experiences with IT systems, with doing it in a way that really helps
Yes,
operation. Could you tell
yes.
me more about this experience? How well are you versed in IT?
Well, coming from telecom, well, obviously, IT systems are an integral part of everything that happens around the telecom work, being the main telecom being providing the main global communication channels today. So this is why IT systems in telecom are quite critical, and usually they have a different sense of urgency, which is maybe just comparable with the medical sector. The thing is that a system that does not work in telecom can generate huge revenue loss. So this was our background and our experience, having working with very large IT system, which were quite important. Um, for the last period of time up to 2018, both myself and my team, we were involved with IoT system, still telecom IoT in large business to business deals. So that alone was quite an important vertical, and it still is an important vertical, which translates also to the real estate. So basically, IoT was our touching point, and where we came in and experienced with real estate, with the real estate businesses through this IoT, where we had a lot of experience. We wanted to transpose this experience into real estate. And this is how we started back in 2018.
You mentioned that it was telco business, but not national business. It was international business, if I am correct.
With customers from Australia to Canada, all continents, all geographies. Yes, especially on the
Because
IoT part.
yeah, because I am coming as well from telco sector, and
Yeah.
I work for international company or one daughter company of Deutsche Telekom, but we exchanged experiences among daughters. So I know that this environment is very diverse because it serves many sectors. It does not serve just the real estate sector. It serves also medical sector,
Yes.
hospitals. It serves IT sector, banks, and everyone has
Banks, critical
different.
infrastructure, even
Exactly.
agricultural system, livestock, and yeah, a lot.
What is common with real estate is that real estate is as well really diverse.
Yes, and
And
and one of the biggest asset classes. Um, then there's a huge ecosystem around it, so it's not just the asset in itself, being a residential or an office or a logistic building. It's everything that's around it, and it's a full industry, and that makes it along quite interesting and challenging in the same time. And now with all the pressures that come from the sustainability reporting and everything, and yeah, these challenging times generated by the economical situation that is spreading globally. I think the real estate will have quite a significant impact in the time to come. And with a tool like ours, we are basically trying to mitigate this impact. And if you want, we can discuss a bit deeper on how do we see this going forward.
yeah, it will be very interesting. I'm interested in that. With what team are you working? Because I saw your product. I must say that what really interested me on first sight, yeah, was how easy understandable. This was not standard dashboard that we can meet when we open old platforms like SAP, yeah, 15 years ago, but it's new, really fresh, colorful. You are playing with a lot of things that make it user friendly. How did you come to this? Because it's really it looks really professional and user friendly, and at the same time.
As I started mentioning, we strongly believe that time is critical and really important, especially in a B2B environment. So our purpose right from the beginning was to deliver something that is so easy to use that it actually, even a simple click should save you a couple of seconds. And when you
Yeah.
add up, this will translate in hours on a monthly basis. And for a business, it will actually convert into full-time equivalent, so resources. So actual costs that you are able to save on a monthly basis. We are a team of 6 right now that we are working like a team of 12 plus partners. And we have a lot of partnerships on the business development side, rarely on the software development side, because mainly we do this one by ourselves and we do this internally. And yeah, we have professionals on the marketing side, on the sales side, on the business development side, and also on the software development side of
But
things.
did you develop something similar also when you were in the telco sector? Because you were handling a lot of technologies, and you had to report under one roof, and it's very similar to what manager of large real estate portfolio does. He has many buildings, many services, and if you have in telco sector many IoT platforms, because we know that there is many and in more countries, then you have to handle it very quickly, and
Yes.
you have to give this information to management in a very understandable form. Yeah.
Yes. In telecom, we were heavily involved into both product development, capacity management, operations. So there are a lot of processes. We need to consider that in telecom, the platforms in themselves are way larger than anything a real estate IT system will ever get to. So simply different scales, but we definitely took a lot of knowledge and tried to translate it into what we are doing now. We are still building an IT system, so an IT system that we are aiming to be as scalable as possible, as cost efficient as possible, and as user friendly as possible. With feedback from people like yourself, I think we've managed to do a decent job on it, and we definitely are aiming to improve this even further.
Did you hire someone from real estate, or was there someone already in the team?
Actually, no, but we were very, we listened a lot to what our partners and customers were saying. Actually, in the beginning, one of our main focus besides the product development was to absorb as much knowledge as possible. So we were very present even in our customers' premises. There were days in that where we just went to their offices just for discussion, just to see how they are doing things. So we've pushed this customer support part in the beginning way higher than the normal contract value should have suggested, just to be able to absorb all of this and to be able to merge the two, our background and our knowledge, with the new knowledge and create something unique and something quite new.
Yeah. I will ask you, first, I would welcome if you explained us how does your platform work and who can benefit from it, yeah?
Yes. So many, because right now PropTech, I would say that in real estate, property technologies, so IT companies are becoming kind of mainstream. Usually the real estate sector has started to get used with vertical solutions. So one solution that addresses, I don't know, facility management, one solution that addresses cost, one solution that addresses like invoicing, collections, service charge recognition. I can go on and on. Tenant engagement, leasing part. What we've decided to do is to follow the tenant lifecycle horizontally. So from the moment a tenant gets in contact with a landlord and he makes a request for a space, with signing of the documents for that space, with him being transferred to the property management team, so from the leasing team towards the property management team, then the collaboration between the property management teams, the tenant responsible representative, and the facility management team, up to community management, so the communication with the tenant, until the moment he exits and basically closes the contract with the landlord or the asset manager. Because mainly this is the life cycle of a tenant. And with our tool, we are able to follow this life cycle horizontally and improve along the way every piece of interaction that happens between the stakeholders. And the stakeholders will be multiple, because as I was mentioning, we already have leasing managers, tenant representatives, facility management and supplier companies, community and tenant engagement responsibles, so on and so forth.
And is it are there some meeting points or crashes with existing systems, because all these verticals that you mentioned are relying on some kind of system, or is it smoothly communicating with everything existing and in some way even improving its performance?
Our own tools definitely works quite smooth, I can tell you that, but we are also very open, because from time to time you do need to have integrations, and those integrations exist. To give you an example, there are integrations with facility management platform, so the CAFM, Computed Aided Facility Management, which are very specific to that task. Where we sit, we are the interface between, also our product being branded, we are the interface in front of the tenant. the tenant needs at some point the services that the facility management companies are providing, but they are pushing these requests through our interface, and we communicate in real time with the facility management systems. By doing this, we are also able to measure the interactions, measure the contract agreements, the SLAs, and generate also performance indicators in the form of KPIs to make sure that the satisfaction of the tenant is at the highest level, and to make sure that the facility management companies with their system are doing the best possible job, and they deliver the best activities. This is one example. Integrations there are also with financial products, like products that generate the invoices, where you manage the accounting, where you manage the collections maybe. So where it is needed, we are integrating with this vertical system, being mindful that our main purpose is to serve the tenant as best as possible in the interest of the landlord.
So you can either inform the existing system, for instance, as you mentioned, computer-aided facility management.
Yes.
And filter information that it needs. Yeah, for instance, complaints from tenants.
Yes.
It does not bypass the KFM, but it helps it work better. And are you able to filter? Because I know that operators of computer-aided facility management systems are often planning to file their tickets into their system because they are duplicated, repeated many times the same thing, or they are not clear, they are not validated. So there's many issues with just handling this. Yeah, can you filter this?
Yeah. I will give you a very specific example. If you have a landlord that have 1 or 2 buildings, I would say that it works for you to use directly the KFM system. And maybe if you have a small 20,000 square meters GLA, it works like this. But when you have 5, 7, 10, 20 buildings, and in each building you will have between 5 and 10 other suppliers, and between these suppliers, every one of them has one preferred tool, it becomes a nightmare in terms of management. And your branding in front of the tenant, it's simply not existing, because every tenant from every place will see something different, which has nothing to do with your branding. And basically, there's no standard communication towards the tenants, because obviously every other system communicates in a different way. Our aim is to centralize everything, and even if there are particularities, to keep in front of the tenant one interface, filter out what they are requesting, and based on the category of the problem, the type of defect, the type of need, the type of request, to put it in the right bucket and to the right responsible. And after we have done this, we keep everybody informed. When I say everybody, maybe it's the property manager, the leasing manager, the head of asset management, it depends. While we are mindful to do the regular follow-ups in order to have the problem solved as soon as possible. And we are able to do this across the portfolio.
Yeah, key is to find the responsible person as quickly as possible.
Exactly.
If you are doing this correctly, and to filter this information, not to give this person information twice, yeah, to make it working like it should.
But we are measuring also this. Actually, we are measuring the percentage of being right.
Yeah.
In the form of a KPI. And usually we are trying to have less than 5% of the activities, or more than 95% of the activities allocated correctly and solved accordingly to the SLAs.
Okay, then it means that not only the manager of the large real estate portfolio gives your tool into his hand or her hand, but also tenant, yeah, and also supplier.
Yes,
It
they
means
are
that
key stakeholders.
but supplier does not communicate with tenant. It communicates with a responsible person,
Yes.
and tenant communicates with responsible person. It's the communication is directed as the manager wants, yeah.
Exactly. So it's up to the property management team to decide how these things happen. And basically, we can also treat differently every category of request, because some of them will be more urgent, some of them will be just nice to have. And we can also have different, let's say, time sets for any kind of request. And depending on where you are putting it, because as I was mentioning, a leasing request is still a request, but it's handled a bit differently because now it will have an offer attached, it will have a head of terms, it will have a lease agreement, it will have special requirements like maybe fit out budget, like maybe, I don't know, some extra services, which it's a push pull between the property and the leasing management team. But this is also something, due to our flexibility, this is also something that which we can improve.
Yeah. When is the right time to implement your platform for asset FM or property management? Yeah, it's about timing. Is why this time is the right time to implement your solution?
It's the perfect time to implement our solution, because we all know that things are changing. And actually now we are seeing a period where leases that were signed before the pandemic are expiring this year, the year, or the next couple of years. Most of the leases, especially the ones larger than 3,000, 5,000 square meters, will come with a reduction in demand, in a reduction in space. This will generate many smaller spaces that will now be available for rent, with portfolios having availability up to, sometimes in the worst scenarios, I'm talking about Europe, can go up to 20%. But you have 20% of smaller spaces. This generates more operational activities for leasing those smaller spaces, more interaction with more prospects, more companies. Also, your company profile has changed, because if until now you were targeting 500 employees, now you will end up targeting companies between 50 and 100 employees, just for example. But the operational teams actually remain the same, both leasing teams and also property management teams. From time to time, they even got smaller. So basically, you are in a situation where you have more work with fewer people. Obviously, they don't
The
really match.
workload increase.
The workload increase, and the number of people available to perform those tasks decrease. You can narrow this gap only through a platform that will automate as much as possible of these activities. So you need to become here, and to get this, it's only through an automation platform. And we aim to be that automation platform to handle these activities horizontally for the stakeholders that I've just mentioned. When it is good to start discussing with us? Well, if you have spaces that you are planning to, that you are in the process of renting through different channels, working with brokers, working with 3D digital twins, whatever is your preferred way of promoting your space, you still need to handle those requests operationally, and you still need to transfer them to property management and to do something meaningful for your tenant portfolio. Also, to avoid further reduction of space when you renegotiate contracts, and obviously to avoid having tenants that will just be mistreated that will eventually leave. That can happen as well.
So it's also leasing management platform. You mentioned prospects. It means that property or leasing manager, how is it organized in any real estate company? He needs to see who is the prospect, finds it, record it, and start to behave like part of the family, or it can become part of the family, and to start to treat it like a customer. Yeah.
Yes. This also, I mean, this interaction, as you said, that is also very, very human specific. And it depends on the leasing management team and how they are doing this internally, how we can support, because now it's also quite important. We are working on our own private AI system. So generative AI, which is not ChatGPT. It is
You
our
just
own.
mentioned, yeah, that you celebrate today because it's last training day of this
And we should,
AI identity.
yeah.
You can
We
you can
should
you
start
can
testing it operationally and commercially, actually, from next week. Our initial tests show us quite good performance, and we are quite excited about all the possibilities. And this AI will actually be an integral part of this life cycle that I've just mentioned. So it will start supporting data analysis, data processing across our platform in many situations, even receiving requests or complaints from the tenants, receiving leasing requests from the brokers maybe, and in other areas of the platform. And I can tell you that the use cases are so diverse, and you kind of see endless possibilities if you understand what you're doing, because obviously this comes also with challenges.
And how this works? Can you compare it with Chat GPTI or other tools that are already available, and people are integrating them into their platforms, but it's working based on the tool developed by one public source, let's say.
ChatGPT is generic, so
Yeah.
it is able to write poetry, is able to tell you historical facts. It gets wrong some of the historical facts, but he's still being able to tell you. He's being able to carry on with complex conversations. We are not aiming on that. Ours will be and is specifically trained with real estate data, and it will perform tasks that are linked to real estate. So we are not aiming to do what ChatGPT is doing right now, but we are aiming with it to support even further the activities which are already performed in our application, just to make them faster and better. Because I already mentioned that now the workload increases and the number of people decrease, and basically this gap might very well be an AI.
Yeah, so you are or you had to reserve some time for training it, and you will train it a lot. And this will be
It will never
continuous
stop.
process.
It
Yeah.
will be a continuous process. The good thing is that we do this in a fully secure way and with in a contained with data that is being contained, and there are also no privacy risks because we control exactly the servers where the data sits, how this is being used. I mean, there are no funky uh, put letters saying that, yeah, where we can use your data to do this and that. This will not happen with this scenario. It is still a business to business tool. It will be covered by contractual agreements. So the training is on continuous, but it is continuous in a contained manner.
Yeah, but you are working with standard internet environment. You are generating information from public internet, and
we might process information from the public internet, but we provide this information in a private environment. To
yeah,
give you an example, maybe you want to understand information about what's happening with the IT sector and see how this is impacting your tenant portfolio. What's happening with the IT sector is a public information, but how we deliver this information is very private.
yeah. So that the fruit will be delivered to the person that you are dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will be under contract.
Nice. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Does it have a name, or it will be no name?
We are evaluating multiple names. We right now call it an automated real estate system. And if you take these letters from automated real estate system, it spells Ares, but
Oh.
we are still evaluating this naming thing.
Yeah.
It is an automated real estate system.
But as a PropTech startup, I think the Ares was the only god that gladiators were praying to. So I think there's a good
Well,
similarity
yeah.
or allegory.
You know that it's quite important in business in general, and also for startups, to be mindful and to choose your battles.
Yeah.
But when you choose a battle, you better win it. It's quite important for a startup.
At least the mentality of startups is that they can die in any moment, and they cannot sleep on how to say, on a winning cushion.
Yeah.
So they have to work. They have to swim
Grind it
against
out.
current. So it's I think it's a good name, but it's up to you if it will be final.
As
In any
always,
way,
we will ask
congratulations, and
feedback.
I
We
think
will
that
ask feedback from our customers.
yeah. Did you test it with some? The pilot operation was with some customer, or only internally?
We start customer beta testing not the next week, the week after. So
Yeah.
second week of October, we start a beta testing with a customer.
Okay, so I think that everything will be as it should, and will work as it should. I had question on current situation on the market, but I think that you explain it very well. The demand for flexibility, shortening of leasing periods in contracts, push on decrease of leasing prices, either because of smaller amount of square meters, but also other factors like increase of energy prices, etc., etc. It's really complicated situation.
It
A
is.
lot of new suppliers, and to handle it under one roof is quite challenge. So I think that the situation was explained as it should be.
There are also ripple effects, and these hybrid ways of working, because I mean, most of the companies are now implementing a hybrid ways of working.
Yeah.
3 days in the office with 2 days from home. Actually, today I've heard about a very large telecom operator that has decided that their workforce will need to come 3 days in the office, and one of those days must be Monday or Friday, because otherwise, if you give the people the possibility to have 3 days in the office, 2 days at home, everybody will want to be at home on Monday and Friday. So they've made it mandatory that one of those 3 days should be Monday or Friday. I've heard this actually today, and this has a ripple effect also on other real estate verticals, because while people are staying at home, the demand for logistics real estate increases because there are more online transactions, and because there is a high increase in interest rates, at least across Europe, now we are starting to see demand increase on renting of residential units. Which, by the way, we can cover as well, because right now I think about 25% of our customer portfolio is from residential.
Yeah, it's quite significant portfolio. If you are working with large portfolios, 25% is a large number. I wanted to ask something different, but when you were mentioning this remote working model, I would like to see what can use tenant that has your tool in hand do when he's at home.
See, to understand perks and benefits that are being proposed by the landlord to convince him to come back to the office. This is one of the
because
examples.
he can see in his mobile phone via your app what amenities are there, how the transport is working, what taxi to call, where to charge his car.
Yes, I mean, all these informations that are being provided by the landlord, plus events, plus the possibility to book in advance of maybe some of the facilities, like conferences center, like maybe a parking spot. I mean, it's also up to the landlord.
So landlord is fully handling your platform. Can he give also name to it as he, for instance, call it like he wants, give there his own logo?
Exactly. It's exactly, we are selling the platform as a white label platform because branding is important, and all the communication that the landlord is intermediating through our platform will be branded as well.
Yeah.
This is our intent.
This can be very important for real estate property companies that are fully focused on this and working for more real estate owners and more real estate portfolios. Because then they can have it looks like their own app, and then the company looks like it is really IT.
We are working with some of the largest real estate property management companies in the world, actually.
Yeah, I can see the benefits because you are helping them to look like really modern and offering tools that are really nice to have and really helping.
Yes, and I can tell you that some of these companies are actually showcasing the use of this tool as a differentiator in some of the tenders where they are participating. Because based on your processes and your choosing on how to use it, it can really become a differentiator.
Yeah.
It's totally up to you as a company.
Yeah, coming back to your team and your background as a IT guy or telco guy, I think it's very similar because, for instance, the company that I worked for was twice named as IT company of the year, and it was telco company. But I think that the similarities are obvious there. But what are similarities of PropTech companies in real estate and classical IT company? Can you name some?
So similarities of PropTech companies.
Yeah. Or digital companies and real estate companies,
Well, we found there are some differences here, and actually most of the other PropTech startups that we've seen have a mixed background. I mean, usually they come with some, after working with some of the big agencies or with some of the big landlords. Our background is slightly different, so this is why we are doing things a bit differently and with some different outcomes. Now, the real estate, as I think everybody knows, is still one of the least digitized verticals. And you can show this because, and also not many people have a lot of experience in absorbing operationally powerful digital tools.
I can underscore this.
This creates some challenges.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
creates some challenges. And also what we found is that there are a lot of gatekeepers in real estate. So people that are tending to a certain kind of process which they do not want to change. So from this perspective, there isn't much openness. But tides are shifting. I mean, forced by the context that I've just described, things are shifting to a more digitized world also in real estate. I mean, you can't really compare what's happening, for example, in telecom with real estate in terms of
But I can
digital
compare it.
platforms.
But I can compare it with time when I was working in telco and I was handling old IT system that was really difficult, and you need to go through training, and afterwards, even if you pass the training, let's say pass the exam to be authorized to work with the IT tool, it was really difficult, yeah. And even afterwards, you had to call for help. You needed some help. That's because the IT tool was not working well. And you are a team of 6. You are based in Romania. It's really crucial to do it in a way that it's working well, and you do not need to go with everyone step by step every day. Yeah, so I think that this is the challenge that you need to.
It comes back to that flexibility that I was
Yeah,
mentioning, because we were also kind of forced to build the product in a very flexible way to be able to absorb the customer demands. So
yeah,
in the beginning, basically, this is what we do. We absorb the customer demands, and we are also able to formulate and to come with our own vision of doing things. And until now, it worked perfectly in reaching that middle end and achieving some quite high satisfaction levels from our customers. Exactly by bringing this different and fresh, some fresh ideas, some different ideas that come from a different part of the business.
How long does the onboarding take? When company buys your product and the people who should work with it will learn how to work with it, and
Our fastest onboarding to date was absorbing 430,000 square meter GLA of office in 2 to 3 weeks, with everything that means configuration, the setting up the users, branding, environment, communication, launching the platform, doing some acceptance testing and everything. So I think this is the fastest that we've done to date in about 3 weeks.
yeah,
Nobody believed that it can be done, but now I can confirm that it can be done.
for 400 square meters, yeah,
400,000 square meters.
400,000. Yeah, for sure, 400,000. I'm sorry. 400 would be ridiculously.
A lot of tenants, a lot of suppliers. I can tell
Yeah,
you that. And also a lot of property managers that were handling, that are still handling that portfolio. But to mention here, we found there a very professional team of property management, quite open, really good communication. There were no big blockers, good project management also from their side, good stakeholder management, efficient way to gather demands and also to deliver in a very ongoing, I mean, a very lean methodology, all those demands during the onboarding cycle. So it really depends. It really depends on the team, on the property management team, and on the team of the landlord. This timeline, it can take up to 3 months.
yeah. So it's I can imagine, because the teams are really different, and today, 5 generations are meeting in one office space, and all have different needs and different time needed to learn to adopt these new tools. Yeah. And some are stubborn and not welcoming it. Some are really excited that this will help me, this will work, and this will give me opportunities I was wishing. Yeah. So the I think that the leadership is inevitable. Once one buy your platform and can name it, for instance, some famous name. By the way, can you name some of your customers? Is it already published, or they wish to stay in cover?
As you
Because
said,
because once they buy it, they can towards their customers, they can
show it as their
look
own
as if
tool.
they made it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool feature.
Yeah. It is. I
So
mean, where we were mentioning the large property management companies like CBRE, Cushman, Colliers, large asset management companies like, okay, known across Europe like Ocean, like uh, in our region, Globalworth, for example, is a large player, and yeah, there are others now,
now,
more towards,
cool.
I mean, Hungary, Poland.
I didn't want to come up with these names, but when you mentioned it, and there are clear market leaders like Colliers or CBRE you mentioned, but I wanted to ask for instance, CBRE, let's say, or Colliers, doesn't matter. Uh, this is exactly the environment. Really big professionals in traditional real estate market,
Yeah.
but adopting these new tools and selling it to their suppliers, to their tenants, to their even landlords, because landlords are their
They are
customers.
selling
So
it to the landlords in this case. I mean,
is
they are selling it to the landlords.
is really giving them, can really give them wings. Yeah. And they really can show how good they are, and how well developed. I can imagine that this is really helping them.
The use of the tool doesn't change much based on where you're positioning. The incentive changes a bit. When you are a large agency like this, you don't work with very, very high margins. So this is why being efficient in the way you handle your portfolio
Is
and
essential.
being efficient is quite essential.
Yeah.
So it's quite essential. So it's critical if you can manage let's say a couple of buildings or some compounds with 2 or 3 property managers, or you can manage it with 5. So 2 people are quite important.
Yeah. And the last question I prepared for you. Thank you very much. I love your answers.
Okay.
The last thing that we
The
are
most
dealing
difficult
with
one.
is how would you propose cooperation between startups in CEE, because we see that it's really hard to connect them. The competition is really intensive, and it does not make sense from our point of view, because the market is under digitized. I think that it needs as much competitors as possible to simply serve the market, to persuade the market as soon as possible, and to it's my idea of how it should work. But here the competition starts on a very marginal part of the market, and the people that are serving it thinks that this is the end. Yeah. That no one else will buy it. But it should be quite the opposite. We should be happy that we can cooperate in some wise spots, or areas, and to handle as much customers as possible. Yeah. How
So
would you
you did save the most difficult question to be the last. First of all, from what I'm seeing around, I don't know of a proper platform that is set for startups to collaborate between themselves. When I say platform, I mean organization, like as you have the prop tech organizations.
Yeah.
But also the prop tech organizations, most of them are kind of acting locally in every kind of country. So this kind of hinders the possibility to collaborate with other startups from other regions.
Yeah.
Another thing, when you are a startup, as I was mentioning, you need to be flexible in working with other companies and to be flexible in doing some integrations. But if you have your own rhythm and your own path, you will always choose to do more integration with big players like Microsoft, SAP, IBM kind of products. I mean, Yardi, tools that, for example, are used in the industry and tend to be more stable. A startup by its nature is actually changing things really, really fast. And even if you want to put two systems to work together, they might work quite well today, but some of them, I mean, if some big changes are happening 3 months down the road, it might generate some additional operational costs. The ideal situation is that we end up serving really well some of the needs that happen in the real estate ecosystem, and we are able to collaborate between themselves in an efficient way. Today, this thing does not exist. But we are also seeing here there is a shift where big companies are starting to aggregate some of the small companies. This is happening within Europe. So startups that have now raised large amounts of money, they have started to aggregate other smaller startups, and I think this trend will continue in the next few years for sure. It will continue. This kind of forces some collaborations. It's happening in a more imposed way.
Yeah, I think that all that you mentioned is missing. Yeah, I thought that you come up with some idea that you tell us how should it work better.
I'll ask you something. I mean, do you feel that the real estate players are able right now to formulate exactly their needs of digital tools? Because this would also be a factor. This would also be a driver.
I feel big scare of unknown. Because they really do not understand. They do not speak the same language as most IT companies. My impression is that to find a guy who is excited about tech in real estate company is really, really scarce matter. That does not happen every day. And once you find it, this guy is not well understood in his own company. He already has an issue because he's bringing things that other people are scared of. So I think that the more tools we come that will be prepared for these people as user friendly, that like a mobile phone, you know, no one is scared of using it, even if they are using just 1% of its abilities, but they are opening it, they are scrolling things, they can find whatever they do, but they are spending time with it. Why not with the building that we serve? Why not to edit let's say into this and other tools that they are using, and these times like shortening the onboarding period. The meeting needs of more generations that are meeting in classic real estate company, this helps a lot.
It does, and it should help a lot. To touch on what you're saying
and
now,
that you are able to serve with small team that it's impossible to really give them daily support. This is not your case. This you have to design the product in a way that that they can do it themselves very easily. And only in some cases you are needed to be called, yeah. So
yes, this kind of happened, look, with the mass adoption of IoT as well, because it never happened as it was forecasted. It never happened. The main reason was lack of standardization and the fact that there is no, and this also today, there is no use case that cannot be solved in at least 3 different ways. Not even one business use case which cannot be addressed in at least 3 different ways. So with 3 different technologies. This kind of happens right now as well, because if you are searching for something like, I want to optimize my leasing process, I mean, you will find solutions which I can guarantee they are quite different in approach. Of course, each and every one of them is able to optimize in some way, to some degree, some part of it, that process specifically. But this makes it really difficult for the company, the real estate company, to absorb that product without very specific knowledge of how digital products are working. Still a lot to learn. There's still a lot to learn on this on both sides. Startups to be able to be as flexible as possible and to not push for large changes for the real estate players, and the real estate players to have the right people with the right mindset to adopt the digital solutions.
it's never-ending process. This
Never-ending process.
Anthony Slumbers highlighted it as because real estate companies often end with build, but we have to learn and we have to adapt things. And it's this building is never ending and it's improving. So I think that this is the biggest difference between IT world where it is quite normal. There are ongoing updates and things that are improving the life, but it seems sometimes that it's just making problems. Okay, Vlad, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I think that we cannot finish here. We have to record one other episode, one other session when we will show your platform in a way. How does it work from side of the property manager? How does it work from side of the tenant? How does it work from side of the supplier? Because it's connecting a lot of areas that were not connected before, and the connection was needed. So I really appreciate that you came up with this.
Thank you for this. Thank you for the framework. Thank you for the discussion. I think we touched on some meaningful topics that are circling the real estate world, which I think all of us are striving to make it better.